Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Carter Walker. I love talking about movies, music, comics, and games. And I have another horror movie ranking for you guys. This time it is the Child's Play franchise or the Chucky franchise. I have always been terrified of Chucky, and so I've never seen the franchise. I watched Child's Play 1 for the first time last year, actually while editing a video. That's weird to think about. Maybe it was earlier this year, and I was like, "Oh, the rest of them are on Peacock. I might as well check them out." Because I've been wanting to check out new horror movies, or more accurately, more horror movies that I haven't seen, like from the 80s and 90s and 2000s. And so when I saw Child's Play 2 was on Peacock and streaming, I was like, it's time. I got to check them out. I got to check them out. And all of them were streaming. So I wanted to sit down and rank all seven Chucky films. I won't wait any further. I will get right into it. My bottom number seven is, of course, as most people can tell, it's Seed of Chucky. I honestly did not like this movie. It leaned way too far into the over the top slapstick comedy, and the Glenn and Glenda stuff did not work for me at all. I detested that character. I detested their arc, their dialogue, just everything about them. I think did not work in the slightest. Just the way Glenn pees his pants. I don't like his voice. Sorry, Billy Boyd. I don't like the way he looks. I don't like everything about Glenda. To me, it just bugged me so bad. I understand what Don Mancini was going for. To me, the identity crisis and the confusion could have been handled better, and it was just handled very, very clunky. There's just too much going on. It's just over the top. Really, the only positive I can give this movie is some of Chucky's lines are great, like when he's like, "I'm Chucky, the killer doll." And I was like, finally, he accepts that he's Chucky. Like, it's about freaking time, man. We're like 5 movies into this MF. We got to accept that he's Chucky. He's not getting out. Enough of that Dambala. Enough of that, Ade, do it. I'm sick of it, dude. We got to get into him just being Chucky and give up the fact that he's never going to be Charles Lee Ray again. But yeah, I think there's a few funny lines, like where Jennifer Tilly is on the phone and she goes, there's screaming, and she's like, "Oh, Bound is on cable. Gina Gershon is fingering me." That killed me. I gotta say, that's like one of the funniest lines in the whole franchise, dude. That line was golden. But to me, all the body swapping with like Tiffany, Jennifer Tilly, and she's dead, he's dead, this, that, it just didn't really work for me. And I understand it's been done before in the Child's Play franchise and it will continue to be done. I've just never been too big of a fan of the over the top, like voodoo incantations where anything can really happen and it's just so over the top and Chucky's beaten off into a cup. I mean, that was kind of funny. But this stuff with Redman and Jennifer Tilly and all of that, I didn't like it. The kills were kind of bland apart from like the beheading and Redman getting disemboweled. To me, I didn't really dig it this much, and I actually really disliked it, if I'm being honest. I don't know why I'm kind of like easing up. I really disliked this movie. There's a few moments, like I said, that really worked for me, but as a whole, I felt it was clunky, it's messy, I don't have any nostalgia for it, and so for me, I was like, this movie to me is not good, and I really disliked it. Coming in at number 6 is another movie kind of in the vein of Seed, not with tone, but with the over the top voodoo stuff, and it is Cult of Chucky. Again, with Seed, I didn't like this movie, and I understand there's a lot of people that really do like it. To me, the writing was just terrible, in my opinion. There's so many plot holes, inconveniences so that the plot can continue. They turn Andy into an imbecile in this, and he just like, I don't know, just everything in this movie didn't work for me at all. The only reason I think it's better than Seed is the tone is more consistent and the kills are way better, especially that head stomp kill. That was nuts. That was crazy. And then the one where Chucky like shoves his arm in that chick, that was pretty nuts. But for me, I enjoyed the setting, the different how it differentiates itself from Curse in both tone and setting, and I loved seeing scarred Chucky back. But I mean, there's a few lines that work for me. Like all Chucky movies, there's a few one-liners like where he's arguing with himself. I thought that was kind of funny. But anytime there's more than one Chucky doll in the movie or TV show, I just kind of lose interest pretty quick. But to me, I just don't enjoy it when it's so over the top with the voodoo. I enjoy it when it's a little more toned down. The tone is more horror consistent, with Chucky being the only one throwing out one liners. I might be getting the tone totally wrong here because I watched them all so quick in succession. But again, the writing for this one really failed, and the acting I found very, very bland apart from Fiona Dorff. She is a absolute treasure in these movies and the series. She blows everyone away, no offense. Her and Brad Dourif are incredible. They're just on another level. I didn't like it. I'd probably rate it only a tiny bit higher than C just because of those kills. I forgot a Child's Play movie. So if you're watching this video, I totally forgot about the Child's Play 2019 remake. And I don't think it would work if I just completely said, oh, it's ranked right here. So I'll just give my quick thoughts about it right now. Child's Play 2019 remake, I actually do enjoy it. I like the spin it takes on AI. Of course, making Chucky personality-less is a big mistake in my mind. The whole appeal of him is that he's Chucky, he's voiced by Brad Dourif, he's Charles Lee Ray. But I really enjoyed the more somber take on Andy and Karen Barkley. I enjoyed their relationship and dynamic more. I love Brian Tyree Henry, but I don't think he's that great as Mike Norris. The kills are fantastic, though. I love the kills in this movie, but again, I is sorely missing Chucky. Classic Chucky, Charles Lee Ray, Brad Dourif. It's missing all of that. So sadly, well, I think it is fun. It's a good rewatch. I really would put it probably smack dab in the middle of the list. If I'm gonna watch a Child's Play movie, I'll probably throw something else in apart from this. But by no means do I think it's a bad movie. I just think it's just fine. At number 5, we have Curse of Chucky. This is Don Mancini going back to the horror roots of Chucky with a more gothic horror vibe of everyone locked into a mansion. And while I enjoyed the setback or return to the gothic horror and the horror vibe of Chucky, I don't think it was done as well as it could have. It wasn't as scary as it could have been. I really enjoyed maybe the first fourth or third of the movie. However, once everyone starts biting the dust, I found the acting to just go off the deep end. The writing, again, takes too many contrivances, too many conveniences, and I'm like, man, this is just a little too much for me. But I really enjoyed a few of the kills, especially the dinner room scene with the chili and then the priest's kill. That was fantastic. The, of course, homage to the changeling was really fun. But to me, the characters really tanked it for me, and I just didn't enjoy a lot of this movie due to the characters and the dialogue and the acting. I thought the script again was weak. So the bottom 3 Chucky movies for me personally all suffer from a weak script in my mind and just poor writing and poor dialogue apart from Chucky's one-liners. And Chucky's design in this movie, yikes. I did not enjoy his design. It just looks so weird to me. But I get why it's there again, and there's a reason for it if you watch the movie, but to me, it didn't work at all. While I appreciate what Don Mancini was going for, I honestly don't think he hits the mark here, and that's just in my mind. I know a lot of Chucky movies have a lot of fans, so I could be totally wrong. So before I get into the top 4, let me know down in the comments below what your ranking of the Chucky films would be. Have you seen all of them? Do you like all of them? Do you hate all of them? Is Chucky your favorite horror villain? Let me know. I'm very interested to see everyone's thoughts down in the comment section below. And without any further ado, let's get right into number 4. Number 4 for me is Child's Play 3. Now, I will admit fully I have a large 80s and 90s bias towards horror movies. Automatically have a little bit more love in my heart for it, just because I do love that old style of filmmaking where the sound like clips out. There's still a bunch of film grain. People are just like, just experimenting and seeing what works. They're just throwing everything at the wall and they're like, ah, this worked, this didn't. To me, that was it's just so fun to go back and watch older horror movies, even if they really are not that great. I think it's just fun to go back and revisit and watch and see everything that was going on at that time. So I fully admit I have a huge 80s bias. I know 3 being this high is a travesty for a lot of people, but honestly, I really enjoyed the change to Andy being a little bit older. He's in military school, and Chucky's no longer wanting to possess him. He wants to possess some little dude. I really enjoyed that change of pace, especially after you watch Child's Play 1 and 2, where he's like, I need to possess Andy. I thought it was a ton of fun, and the paintball when he exchanges paintball for real bullets, that was cool. And some of the kills were fun when he gives that dude a heart attack. That was pretty funny. There's some great one-liners in here. So I would say that I actually enjoyed Child's Play 3. I wouldn't say it's great, but I wouldn't say it's terrible. I'd say it's probably in the middle. It's probably like a nice 5.5, 6 out of 10. Yes, I'd like to rewatch it. I wouldn't jump. I wouldn't be foaming at the mouth to rewatch it. I wouldn't be like, I need it, I need it, I need it, because I don't need it. The effects here are great, and it has probably my favorite Chucky death besides one that's higher up. And it's very, very quotable. So overall, I'd say I did enjoy this movie. However, you do miss Kyle from Child's Play 2. She's sorely missed here because she is such a great character. Getting into number 3, we have Child's Play Original, just the original. We have the original Tom Holland directed, Don Mancini scripted with some help from Tom Holland, Child's Play movie. This movie scared me to the core when I was a kid. I remember being about 10 years old. I was in my family's basement. We had just like finished our basement. I turned on the TV and Child's Play was playing. And I was like not supposed to be watching those kinds of movies, because I'm 10 years old. I was a really big weenie. Saw him push Andy's babysitter out the window to her death, and I saw that little glimpse of him, and I was like, I'm done. I'm done. 10-year-old me was out. And I had such a horrible, irrational fear of Chucky that from about fourth grade to maybe eighth grade, I drew comics every day. I would get little pieces of paper, like printer paper, not every day, almost every day, or fold it together, staple it to make a book, or make like one-shot comic pages, and I would draw comics of Chucky and my character, Mr. Awesome. I cannot believe I'm talking about this on a YouTube video. This is going to be immortalized on the internet. Yes, Random Comics Incorporated, started by me and Max Fillmore and Luke Knight and Caleb Osler. We wrote about Chucky because we were all so scared of him. And Chucky and Mr. Awesome were villains and they hated each other. And then they became best friends for reasons unknown because I was a weird little kid. Wow, dude, I'm stopping. Anyways, big tangent. I was so scared of Chucky that I made comics about him every day because I was so scared. So I finally got the balls to watch this movie earlier this year or late last year. I actually really enjoyed it. I think that it works very well as a thriller horror as you see Charles Lee Ray transform, and then you play with that idea of, is Chucky real? Isn't he real? Chris Sarandon is a delight as always. I adore him as Mike Norris. Mike Norris is great here. I really enjoy Chris Sarandon, like I just mentioned, and all of his dynamics with Karen and Chucky and Andy. Wow, I can't think. I just love how dark this movie is and how Andy's just walking all around town. He's like, no one believes me. Like, I believe you, man. I just feel so bad for you. You're so cute. He's just so cute, man. And I just think it's so fun. The effects are so great. It's such an interesting idea. So amazing. And I really do love rewatching this movie. Even though it might be a little slow in the beginning, I just adore the effects and what they were able to accomplish here. And it's something that scared me for a long, long time. So I might be a little biased. Coming in at number 2, we have Child's Play 2. And to me, this is like the perfect Child's Play 80s, 90s slasher movie to where it's got Andy in a different setting. It's got Kyle there. The kills are ramped up. Chucky is more dynamic here because they improved the practical effects and the puppeteering. Everything is just dialed up a little bit more from the first one. You have some great one-liners, like the woman driver's line. That line always gets me. Or he's like, how's it hanging, Phil? And he just snaps his neck. That one's crazy. To me, it manages to find that perfect balance of tense Child's Play, like the first one, and fun, goofy one-liners like the third one, and so on. So for me, this is like the perfect Child's Play, and Kyle is so cool. She's such a great character. I'm really bummed they never brought her back until the series, but I loved Kyle. I think she does a great job on this movie. Her character is just so fun and so dynamic, and her relationship with Andy is fantastic. Of course, that third act in the toy factory is insane. It just keeps going and going and going and ramps up and ramps up. So it is a very, very fun watch. I adore Child's Play 2. I would honestly recommend it to anybody. But my number 1 is Bride of Chucky. Chucky at its best. He's so funny. He's so over the top. The kills are graphic and gory. There's so much going on. The only thing that drags it down is the relationship between Katherine Heigl and the dude. I never remember their names, and I think I've seen this movie twice. It isn't really that great. It's not very fleshed out, so it's not very good. That's okay. I think that the dynamics between Chucky and Tiffany, especially the introduction of Tiffany and just the series becoming more comedic overall, really does wonders for the movie. I think that it's just like so interesting and so fun to just change the element. They're like, okay, get rid of Andy, do something different. And they do something very, very different. And I think it's a gambit that paid off. This movie is very funny, actually. A lot of the one-liners and dynamic dialogue back and forth between Chucky and Tiffany is just classic. And one of my favorite Chucky moments, if not my favorite Chucky moment, is at the very end when he's about to die and he's like, I'll be back. I always come back. And that's a terrible reenactment of that line, but it's just so good. And Brad Dourif just delivers it so well to where I love this movie. The only downside in this movie, the only thing where I'm like, it's not a perfect movie, is the ending with the fetus. I'm like, oh, get me out of here. But it's like 30 seconds of boo, compared to like an hour and a half of yeah, and that was so bad. But it's like midnight, and my neighbors are these walls are not thick, guys. I promise. But I actually really enjoy this movie. I think it's a ton of fun. The road trip aspect is great. The kills are fantastic. That was my ranking of all 7 Child's Play films, plus the remake that I had to throw in there at the end because I totally forgot until I got to Child's Play 1. As for the TV series, I really loved season 1. In fact, I watched season 1 after I had only seen Child's Play 1, and so none of it really made sense, but I knew the lore. So I watched season 1, went and rewatched all of them. I watched most of season 2, but if I'm being honest, I just couldn't bring myself to finish it. The Seed era of Child's Play is my least favorite era, and so I just didn't enjoy where Don Mancini was going with everything. I think it was too over the top, too comical. The kills, of course, were great, but I just didn't really work for me. Season 3 so far, I think the writing is mediocre, but I am enjoying the change of pace, Chucky's plan, and I'm interested to see where it goes from here. I do think I like it more than season 2 already, so that's a plus, but I really enjoyed season 1. So, as always, guys, what is your ranking of the Child's Play franchise? Thank you so much for tuning in to another video with me. If you have any movies or things I should review or rank next, let me know down in the comments below. As always, guys, my name is Carter. Have a great rest of your day.